Jai Sriman Narayan.
Jai Sriman Narayan.
Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you physically present here at the Sri Narayan Dham. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in YouTube and various groups from around the world. Today is the 11th day that the Sri Narayan Dham has advocated as the month of the Ramanujans. And we have stated that in these days, starting from the 28th April and ending on the 27th of May, we will, to the best of our ability, explain the Sri Sampradaya and all that is contained within this institution and that makes this institution the principal spiritual science institution on this planet. In order to do so, and also to keep it simple, I have broken the information or knowledge into little parts so it can be assimilated by the materialistic mind. And I want to do a background today so that when I explain the Alvars, Lord Sri Ramanuj, and ultimately Lord Sriman Narayan, then this series of discourses must not seem supernatural. However, it must be noted that the Sri Sampradaya discourses spiritual science. And the spiritual reality is hidden in the cloud of ignorance and cannot be directly perceived. And when something is not directly perceived, then the material mind has intuited itself to reject any phenomena that cannot be directly perceived. And it is for this reason that every now and again I'm going to wander off into the material reality and bring in suitable examples which will act as a prop for the mind to perceive the spiritual reality. And I want to start off on this date and day, May 2020. What is the date today? 10th. Okay, so today, the 10th of May, is it the 10th? 9th. Today is the 9th of May, 2020. And if one looks at the various videos posted from around the world, you'll see that planet Earth is clean and vibrant. All the elements in planet Earth are vibrating positively. The air is clean and chemical free. The waters are clean and chemical free. And the land adjoining the water is clean and rejuvenating itself. You will find that plants and flowers that were non-existent for many, many years due to pollution are now growing on the banks of rivers, lakes. And you'll find that the river Ganges has attained its state of purity and the water can now be drunk. We can now drink that water because it's in its pure state. This is the natural state of the planet up until the time man has interfered and made the natural planet unnatural by bringing in mechanization. Why am I stating this? I'll answer as follows. In today's day and age, there are many people that work hard, and those that can afford it visit countries or even visit places in their own country which are natural holiday resorts. And when I say natural holiday resorts, these places are deep in nature, in mountain ranges, along lakes, and along the sea, where there is no industrialization. And these resorts are very, very expensive. Those that have a lot of money go to these resorts, and when they come back, they tell you how they found peace. They will tell you they connected with nature, they connected with the plants and trees, and they connected with the animals that are in those places. And they will pay thousands and thousands of rands to go and experience nature in its natural setting. Those that have a lot of money and that can afford this will do this quite a few times. CEOs, directors, doctors, lawyers, engineers. Then you get the middle class that might do it a few times in the life. And then you'll get the lower middle class that may do this or have this adventure maybe once or twice in their life. The point I am making is that the Supreme Lord has provided us this natural setting. For free. We have messed it up so badly, and yet we are the scientific proof. We, ourselves, man, is stating that when he goes into the mountains, he finds so much of peace. He is at peace with himself, with his problems, and he is at peace with nature. This same man comes back to the city and contradicts that peace that he attained in the mountains or in these natural resorts that I have mentioned previously. And he commits violence to this very nature through various businesses and lifestyle that he has adopted. And he becomes the evidence himself through his own experience. Because when he wants peace, he cannot find it in the cities. He can only find it in nature itself. And these natural resorts have become a booming business around the world. And this is a scientific, absolute truth. These material universes are created and designed by the Supreme Lord. However, material science is only concerned with experimenting and gaining knowledge through experiment and then making a resolution and then living within that resolution. And that is called science. Science means to gather information about your surrounding through experiment, and experiment means experience. Science also means gathering information about yourself. So if you gather information about yourself and information about your surrounding, then that is called science. If you gather information about creation, that is called science. And science breaks down into many departments. So let us gather information about ourselves. Let us try to gather information about ourselves. You will note that in any language on this planet, nobody has taught a baby to say, I and mine. Nobody has taught a baby and said, say you are I. The child grows up knowing this body is mine. It's natural for the child to know that this body is mine. And if something happens to the body, then we say, my body is pain. Nobody taught you to say that. But you use the word I and mine. From where does this I emanate? You don't say, I hurt I finger. You say, I hurt my finger. When your car meets with an accident, you say, my car met with an accident. So my means something that belongs to you. And I means that entity. And the I comes naturally to you. And can scientists explain the I? Then, if you look at nature, and you don't have to go too far, wherever you are, look around. There is, if you look from the human, animals, reptiles, insects, plants, trees, and the aquatics, what do you see? You see all these entities are animate. What animate means? That it's alive. The plant is alive, tree is alive, creeper is alive, bird is alive, elephant is alive, cow is alive, snake is alive. All these things have one thing in common. It is animate. Then you'll notice that you breathe in air which has no life. You light a fire which has no life. You drink water which has no life. There's a mountain which has no animation. All these things have no animations. So you distinguish that in my body and in the bodies of others there is animation. And when this animation leaves this body, it's called death. And as long as there was animation in this body, then we have to question, what is this animation that is common to 8.4 million species, but for now, let's say all living species on earth. There is only one commonality amongst them, all have, all whilst living is animated. One common understanding that can be scientifically proven is that every living entity at the point of proving is animated. What is material science? How are they determining this animation? What discoveries have they made? They have sent many spacecrafts to other planets and satellites to understand the composition there. What is the use of understanding the composition of other planets and other systems within this universe if we do not know the basics on the planet that we are living on? These space travels cost a whole lot of money. So this is where spiritual science enters, where material science ends. Spiritual science begins. In material science, we use 5 instruments to understand material science. And what are those 5 instruments? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. These are the 5 senses that we use to determine our huge creation. But we only have 5 senses. How powerful are these senses? How far can you see naturally with your eye? From how far can you hear naturally with your ears? From how far can you taste naturally with your tongue? Charles, you are the master or taster. What is the distance of taste, Charles? What do you think? Sorry? How many centimeters?
0.
Your tongue is 4 centimeters, Charles. And your tasting, your tongue is limited. So these 5 senses which we're using to determine this great planet of ours is limited. And by natural deduction, if you use instruments in a scientific experiment which is limited, then the result will be limited. It's a scientific and mathematical deduction. If all that I stated from the beginning of my discourse to now have no answer scientifically, and if we could not find the answer through material science, and material science has given us evidence that this creation is millions of years old, we have gathered from our imperfect senses through various experiments done over a period of time by scientists. Now they are using radar to look into solids. So science is quite advanced, but still not advanced to give us any absolute answers in all that I've stated in this discourse. And if they have not done this over the last hundreds of years, then it means they won't be able to do it in the next hundreds of years. It is a logical deduction, which means that we have to now look for knowledge relating to I, my body, and creation, and the planets, and we have to see if there is a system that exists containing this knowledge. If you can't find it by experimenting through yourself, and when we say ourself, we are represented by material science, then we have to see if there is knowledge that can answer all these questions that exists somewhere from some other source. Okay? It's like you want to know who your father is, but you don't want to ask your mother. So you will have to take blood sample of 9 months before you were born, or DNA, from every male that was associated with your mother, or all the males in this universe. After a time when you get frustrated, what is the best method to find the answer? Ask your mother. Because that knowledge already exists in your mother. That knowledge exists already. All you have to do is ask your mother. So similarly, when man gets frustrated, when science cannot provide answers adequately. And when man does not know who he really is, then there is a mother. And that mother is called the Sri Sampradaya, the mother of this universe. And she can give all the answers and even send you a representative to give you all the answers that you seek. Jai Sriman Narayan.